When my father passed away, I inherited a shoebox he kept under his bed, taped shut, labeled in faded marker, "Do not open until you're ready." I wasn't ready for a long time. We'd had a complicated relationship. He was quiet, strict, always working, never saying the things I back needed to hear. Growing up, I mistook his silence for indifference. It took me 5 years to finally open that box. Inside were dozens of small, folded notes, receipts, photos, postcards, each one with a few words written on the back. A grocery receipt. Bought your favorite cereal. You were having a bad week. A photo of me on my bike. You fell, cried, got up again, proud of you. A postcard from a business trip. Missed your birthday. I'm sorry. Next year I'll be there. He never was. But reading those notes, I realized he'd tried. In his own quiet, imperfect way, he'd been loving me the whole time. There were doodles in the margins of some notes, tiny sketches of things he knew I liked. A note with a pressed leaf inside from our walk in the park. A scrap of paper with just one word, hope. A receipt for a toy I never asked for but had secretly wanted. It was as if he had left breadcrumbs of care all along. At the bottom of the box was a final letter, sealed in an envelope with my name. I didn't always know how to say things right, but I wrote them down so you'd never have to guess. If you're reading this, it means you finally understand. I wasn't keeping distance. I was keeping record. I sat there on the floor, surrounded by all the moments I'd missed while he was still alive. It felt like he'd built me a bridge out of paper, fragile, but enough to cross. I ran my fingers over each note, smelling the faint trace of his cologne on the edges. I laughed softly at the little jokes he'd scribbled. I cried at the apologies he had never spoken aloud. Some notes were cheerful, some apologetic, some simply observational, like he was quietly cataloging my life while trying not to interfere. It was imperfect, messy, human. I found a tiny ticket stub from a baseball game he had taken me to once, thinking I had forgotten. A folded napkin with a doodle of a dog, our favorite cartoon. Some notes were folded multiple times, like he had been nervous leaving them behind. I realized he had left these pieces of himself for me, piece by piece, so I'd always feel him near. And in a strange, quiet way, I understood him better now than when he was alive. Now, whenever I think of him, I write down the things I can't say out loud, and I keep them in a box under my own bed. Not because I plan to leave it behind, but because love deserves to be written somewhere permanent. Sometimes, late at night, I read the notes again. Sometimes I add new ones, imagining he might read them someday, even if only in spirit. And every time, I feel him near, teaching me that words, even when unsaid, can hold a life together. I've learned that love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's hidden in quiet corners, waiting for the right moment. And those corners, those moments, can last a lifetime. The words we don't say never vanish. They just wait for the right time and the right heart to finally be read.